What terrorism did is destroy the country.
Yeah, and it's exactly the definition of terrorism. It's like creating fear into the populations for a revendication. Hi guys, welcome to Project Achilles. I'm Armand, I'm the founder. I'm a former Red Beret from the French Army where I served 12 years as a captain.
And my name is Adriano DeSantis, co-founder. I'm the weapons training instructor and safety officer.
Today we are going to discuss urban threats and we will see terrorism and mass shooting.
I think a good point to start is definitions. What is considered mass shooting? Basically, it's when you have a multiple victim shooting scenario, and the FBI classifies it as 4 or more victims. And as of 2013, Congress said 3 or more victims. The important distinction is that the shooting has to take place in one spot. You have no cooling off period. It didn't happen in place A, place B, place C. It's a one-time event, 4 or more shooters, 3 or more people by Congress.
So if you summarize, it's one place, no cooldown, and at least 3 people injured or killed.
Exactly.
The definition of terrorism would be slightly different. It's commonly accepted as a political, religious, or ideological motives for justifying the use of violence against a civilian population.
We talked about the distinctions. They're clear. Definition of mass shooting, definition of terrorism. How about we bring it to one of the largest shootings in modern U.S. history?
One man, in the matter of minutes, we're talking about one man in a matter of minutes, shot close to 600 people.
Yeah. Fortunately, that is 2017 Las Vegas. What would you define it as?
So it's actually an interesting case because you can see that the volume of victims has nothing to do with the classification because FBI classified that case as a domestic terrorism. The reason why is that there is no religious, political, or ideological reason, but it's more personal griefs that motivated the action of the active shooter.
So continuing down the path here, do you have relatable incidents like this in France?
So actually we have many of them, but the ones that come up right away are 2015 Charlie Hebdo.
Des hommes cagoulés auraient pénétré les locaux de Charlie Hebdo.
2015 Bataclan.
Deuxième attaque.
2016 the attacks of Nice.
Ce jeudi, la cour d'assises spéciale de Paris a découvert avec effroi la vidéo de l'attentat de Nice.
So Charlie Hebdo, I was still in the army at that time, so it was like a big attack. It was kind of a war in France, actually. In 2015, Charlie Hebdo, some journalists were targeted by Al-Qaeda.
When you say targeted, what happened? What led to this? No.
Okay, so Charlie Hebdo is a newspaper, and they used to have a certain line of edition, like they have a specific way to do. And they made fun of Islam and they did some caricatures of the Prophet, which is haram. And Al-Qaeda decided to take revenge. They went into the building. They killed as many journalists they could. So they killed 14 people.
And any of these attacks, are they relatable to something that could have happened in the U.S.? Maybe can bring those together.
So yeah, actually we could, because right after Charlie Hebdo in 2015, we had the Bataclan. So Bataclan happened in a theater. It would be like the Las Vegas Strip, but in a tourist way, Bataclan happened in a theater, and that time Islamic State killed 130 people inside the theater for religious motives. And then we have the attacks of Nice that could be directly related to what happened in New Orleans, because a truck ran over people who were in a super crowded streets in Nice for the 14th of July, and they killed almost like 80 people, something like that. And it's exactly what happened in New Orleans where a guy who also pledged allegiance to ISIS ran over people and killed, I don't have the numbers, but run over them and killed many of them.
So relatable incidents, France, the U.S., distinctions of a little bit mass shooting, terrorism. Let's talk about similarities. Where do these events happen, right? We tend to see them in what we call gun-free zones. And I have a nice little data that since 1988 to 2019 in the U.S., and you can look this up on gunlaws.com, it's related to mass shootings, 85% or more of the shootings have happened in what we call gun-free zones.
Yeah.
So if you think of the shootings that have happened as of late, schools, churches, zoos, areas where people don't carry.
Yeah. So this is what we call a cattle pen scenario.
Can you break it down.
So if you want to get it that very simple, it's like large coded, limited exits, and no cover. People's focus is elsewhere. They're here for entertaining, they're here for any other reason, and so they're surprised. So terrorists or active shooter know that. They use this as a point of weakness because these are easy targets. Be aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness is extremely important, and you have to be trained in situational awareness. Okay, so Adriano, you asked me about France, but let me ask you about Peru, because I heard about the Shining Pass, MLTA, Miraflores, and all these episodes. Like, can you discuss a bit about it?
Yeah, sorry. It's my family, we left Peru in the 80s, early 80s, because of terrorism. And when we came back, we were still, you said Shining Path, we called them Sendero Luminoso. Yeah. It was Abimael Guzman was their leader.
Abimael Guzman led the Shining Path rebel movement, targeting police and the military, bombing indiscriminately.
And in a nutshell, roughly 10 years, 70 plus 1,000 people were reported dead or missing because of this terrorist group. So a large number in a very short span. My most vivid memory is Miraflores. You coincidentally brought it up. It was the first car bombing of its type in Peru. In 1992, they rigged a car with 1,000 pounds of explosive in the most touristy area of Lima.
And what about the crisis of the Japanese embassy?
Yeah, you said it early on, MRTA.
Yeah.
And they did. They took the Japanese embassy for several months until some special commandos took force back and, had to kill all these terrorists.
And how did you live as a kid in this environment of cars bombing and like hostage? And how was this, man?
Well, you have to understand, when I moved back to Peru, I was 9, 10 years old. And I came from leaving my bike outside, the door unlocked, to, oh my God, we have to put tape on the windows, because when a car bomb happens, not if, when a car bombing happens, the shards don't cut you. And it was mind-blowing for me. I see that at home, I would see it at school.
And even for the food, would you run around in the stores? Would you go to the grocery store?
This had an impact. You have to understand, terrorism disrupted the country. So food supply was interrupted, and rationing was in place. Curfews were in place, dusk till dawn. So when you talk about food, I remember as a kid having to do lines for hours.
Yeah, because more people, more food, right?
Exactly. It's per household, right? So you want rice, sugar, water. You come in line, and it was me, my brother, my sister, and we would just stand there for hours. So what terrorism did is destroy the country.
Yeah, and it's exactly the definition of terrorism. It's like creating fear into the populations for a revendication, So it's what they were creating, actually. So you fear to go to the grocery store, you fear to be inside your house because maybe a car going to explode, and it's exactly that.
We were the victims. And I speak as a civilian, but my experience and yours are completely different. You have a military background, military training.
Yeah, it's really different because the mission was to go where they are and to track them. So we were doing scouting, long-range patrol. It's an area where ISIS is still particularly active. Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, they have a border, and ISIS is extremely active over there. And we were tracking them, we were engaging them. So I would say that the big difference, despite the heavy fight that we have, because if you want to capture the head of the group and to destroy the group, they most likely disagree, right? They're going to fight you, so you have to fight them. But we are engaging them, so it's really different.
So I think a way to sum it up and maybe the episode is victim versus engaging.
Yeah, and it's also empowering you.
So guys, thank you very much. This was episode 1 of Urban Threats.
And stay tuned for the episode 2. We're going to delve into transitional spaces. Subscribe to the channel, follow on Instagram, and thank you very much for watching Project Achilles.